Hey everybody, this is Eric from Games Radar. I'm here with Dave Wilkins, the art director for Splatterhouse, and Dan Tovar, the producer. We're here to talk about Splatterhouse because you might not be paying as much attention to it as you need to, and we're here to fix that. I'm going to start with you, Dave. The game looks gorgeous, but it looks gorgeous in a way I haven't seen before. It's not quite cell shading, and it's not quite realism. What are you doing there? What is that?
Well, we're paying an homage to a lot of the old 80s horror posters and that kind of art. So we're looking at old comics, old Frazetta, also old Burning Rice and Swamp Thing, things like that, and trying to tune this graphic shader into something we haven't seen before.
A little bit of heavy black lines around in the washes of color. Yeah, that's now that you mention those two artists, it's totally obvious. Now over to you, Dan. I don't know which of you guys are quite to blame, but this is the most savage, gory, blood-drenched game I've played in ages. Tell us about this level we're in now. I played it, and it felt like one of the rooms was actually a microwave. What's the story there?
Yeah, well, it basically is. You basically fry the enemies, and they burst into lots of blood and guts. I mean, we got a lot of guys dedicated specifically to all the stuff that's inside that winds up outside. The limbs, the bodies, the organs, the blood. So, yeah, it's a mechanic that gets reinforced throughout this level. So you have to watch out for it, but you can also use it against the enemy. So it becomes like an environmental hazard.
And there was a door. Tell us about the doors.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a twist on the old lock and key mechanism. The enemies wind up being the key, and the lock is an impalement point that you basically shove through various orifices on their body. So yeah, it's pretty gnarly. I mean, we definitely try to up the over-the-top, tongue-in-cheek, just gnarly ways to kill shit,
So if I were to say perhaps butt plug chair, you'll have to play the game. Honest, it's crazy.
It's not an official quote, but it's not really inaccurate either.
Right, and so tell us about some of the other more savage things you can do in the game. There's a lot of really, in addition to that kind of room. Let's give us some more examples of the kind of thing the player will find themselves doing.
I mean, one of the big things that we're focusing on is the splatter kills, which is basically the most brutal and goriest way that you can kill each of the classes of enemies. So, one guy, you basically just mashing his head together until blood is squirting out his eyes and mouth, and eventually he just devastate his entire head, and there's just a geyser of blood that just starts spraying through the air. And I'm sure Dave's got a favorite too.
Yeah, I'm going to say the zombie tear in half is probably my favorite, because slow down and the zoom in of the intestines and everything, it's pretty epic. You really did work on that guy, so yeah.
Dare I ask what kind of research you had to do to get that stuff animated right?
A lot of horror movies, a lot of horror comics, even just listening to heavy metal, which is another theme for the game. Just puts you in a certain kind of mood. You just want to be brutal. You just want to tear stuff in half, like Dave said, snap some spines. So yeah, we draw inspiration from a lot of the stuff that you'll be able to play through the game and kind of I see what they're doing there. It's for people that are into that kind of stuff. It'll be obvious.
The ESRB is hating you guys right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one.
Fair enough. So let's just say probably not rated E.
That's pretty good.
At all. So speaking of inspiration, I wanted to make one more point. I saw, for fans, those of us who are old, we might have played the original Splatterhouse games. I seem to remember there was a boss in there that's sort of the worm kind of creature that drops down the small. That's in here as well, in a sort of an evolved form, yeah? Any of the other sort of levels or boss designs coming back that we can look for?
Yeah, absolutely. We use the original games as a blueprint for our design. So there's a lot of enemies and rooms and levels and characters that we use as inspiration, and the music too, because it was a huge part of it. So there's a definite number of characters that we identified as critical to the franchise that we're bringing back.
Any of them you can tell us?
Absolutely. Biggie Man is back. Biggie Man is definitely back. Biggie, is Rick's nemesis. He's the guy with the chainsaw hands. We've seen tons and tons of iterations on that guy, but we're actually back to the original style, original design, and he's pretty scary dude in this game. Yeah. So old school is the way we're going. Yeah.
But when's the game coming out? October, right?
It's this fall for sure. Yeah, fall 2010.
Just fall so far. All right. More on Splatterhouse as soon as we can find it. You're spending all your time now just making blood. Right.
We did spend a lot of time making blood. We got how many different shades of blood in the game?
We're not done yet. We got plenty of blood to go and different shades, the right hue of red. You know.
Is there an actual number of different shades?
I honestly couldn't count, but I know it's seriously over 20 different shades that we've tried to get. So yeah. It's Splatterhouse blood.
20 different shades of blood. I'm done. I got nothing that can follow that up. Splatterhouse this fall, 20 different shades of blood, only from these guys. Back to you, Internet.